There are going to be some really good MLB prospects that debut this season. Just in the last 4 years, we've seen stars like Julio Rodriguez, Paul Skeens, Nick Kurtz, Corbin Carroll, Roman Anthony, and so many more look like stars immediately right after being called up. So I wanted to share my top 10 prospects that will debut during the 2026 MLB season. If you guys are not already, please subscribe to the channel down below. Also, don't forget to drop this video a like, and maybe let me know in the comments who you think the best prospects in MLB are. This is structured close to a top 10 ranking, not exactly, but at the same time, I put guys closer to the top who I think have bigger star potential, while also at the top, it's the guys who have the best shot to get a full-time role earlier in the season. And I'm not sure there's a player who can marry both of those things better than the absolute bona fide #1 prospect in baseball. It's Connor Griffin, shortstop on the Pirates. Griffin is truthfully the freak of all freaks. He has a shot to come to the league and immediately perform like Julio Rodriguez, Ronald Acuna Jr., that level of star power right off the bat. He was the #9 overall pick in the 2024 draft, just out of a high school in Mississippi. And even with just 1 year of professional baseball under his belt, there's no one who's even close to him in the prospect world right now. And I think a big reason for that is a swing tweak the Pirates seemed to help Griffin make right after being drafted. He went to their complex, didn't actually play games right away, but trained at their facility. And you can see in these side-by-side videos right here that Griffin's swing now compared to when he was drafted is more balanced. He has a shorter load. He's quicker to the ball. It's just a simpler swing. And I want to shout out two studs in the prospect space, Chris Clegg and Aaron Layton, for posting these videos and identifying these tweaks. But altogether, what this did was help Griffin use his very loud tools, his insane power, to shine through more because he was able to make contact more consistently. And just to walk you through how Griffin performed last year during the minors, his first season of professional ball, again, playing the whole thing at 19 years old. In 50 games at low A, he had 9 home runs, 26 stolen bases, and a 338, 396, 536 triple slash. Then he went up to high A. In 51 games there, he had 7 home runs, 33 stolen bases, with a 325, 432, 510 triple slash. And then to end the season, he got 21 games in Double A, where he had 5 home runs, stole 6 bases, and had a 337, 418, 542 triple slash. That's how you get those nice stats up above of what Griffin did in his first year as a minor leaguer, and it's just mind-blowing how productive he was and how he didn't even come close to missing a beat as he kept moving up and up and up the levels where everybody he was playing against was older and more experienced than he was. Also, all of the underlying stats for Griffin really back up how dominant he was. He takes his walks. He doesn't strike out a ton. The swing and miss is now the really big detriment to his game, and also the batted ball quality. It's crazy. Like, luckily, we have StatCast in low A, so it's really nice and easy to dig through this data. Down at that level, Griffin had a 114 mile an hour max exit velocity. That's crazy. He also had 8 batted balls hit harder than 110 miles per hour. One of those came off major leaguer Spencer Turnbull, which again is very funny. And he had 28 balls in play that were hit harder than 105 miles per hour. Like, it's just laser beam after laser beam for Connor Griffin. He also had a 108 mile per hour 90th percentile exit velocity. What that stat means is it takes all of your batted balls and it identifies the one that's 90% closest to the top. So it leaves 10% of your hardest hit balls, doesn't look at, and it just says what's the 90th percentile hardest hit ball. And that 108 mile per hour figure is very similar to guys like Bobby Witt, Fernando Tatis, Julio Rodriguez, Nick Kurtz, Rafael Devers, Juan Soto at the major league level. So basically, some of the most elite power hitters in the game, the top 5% of power hitters in the game, that's what Connor Griffin was able to do in low A. Shout out my guy Prospect Savant for this amazing graphic. To see that, we're going to shout him out a lot this video because wow, that website's amazing. Link for that in the description. I also have a great note here from, again, Aaron Layton, who does great work for Just Baseball. Good prospect rankings over there. And he said, seeing the ball earlier while holding his backside better helped Griffin create more barrel depth in his swing, resulting in significantly improved results against spin being like breaking balls. After posting an OPS of 450 against breaking balls through his first 30 pro games at low A, Griffin doubled that figure to north of 900 in his subsequent 95 games at mostly high A and double A. Having already showcased the ability to turn around velocity, Griffin's leap against breaking balls quickly hushed the hit tool concern with an improved ability to recognize secondaries to complement. So again, we're seeing rapid development, rapid growth, a swing change that just put this guy into a whole nother level. Insane power. He's also a great defender at shortstop. Also, if you don't want to put him at shortstop, it looks like he can handle center field, cannon for an arm, true 5-tool player, runs like the wind. This is it. This is the most perfect prospect we've seen in this league in a long time. He's on the par again with 4 years ago when Julio debuted and took the league by storm in that first year. And the Pirates actually might make him their opening day shortstop. There's a chance of that. If he is, it's all systems go. This is going to be probably one of like the 30 or 40, maybe 50 or so best players in baseball from the jump. Next up, we have Carson Bench, outfielder from the Mets. And a big thing with Bench is just us all noticing how good Mets player development is getting, because Bench was the 19th pick in the 2024 draft out of Oklahoma State as a two-way player. It was immediately announced he dropped pitching, and since arriving in the minor leagues, he's been one of the most productive minor leaguers in the entire league. He crushed low A right out of the draft, then started last season at high A Brooklyn and had a 900 OPS in 60 games. The Mets high A affiliate Brooklyn is notoriously a very, very difficult place for left-handed hitters to hit, because literally right behind right field is the actual beach, the Atlantic Ocean, and the wind blows off that beach so hard all the time. Tons of lefties have gotten there and struggled. So for Bench to have a 900 OPS there is astounding. Then he had 1,000 OPS in 32 games with Double A Binghamton after being promoted there, and then got up to Triple A just a year after he was drafted. Amazing. He didn't hit very well there at Triple A. The production was bad. He had a 580 OPS in about 100 plate appearances over the course of a month, but everything he did under the hood was really good there. Incredible underlying stats. Again, shout out my guy Prospect Savant for this amazing visual. But across 100 plate appearances and 72 batted ball events, Bench had a 110 mile an hour of max exit velocity. Not astounding, but still very, very good. But a really, really good high concentration of high exit velocities. Just look at all these right there. The average, the 90th percentile, the hard hit rate, the barrel rate. Really, really good stuff. That tells us that Bench likely gets to the major leagues with something that looks like plus power. Not plus power, not even close to where Griffin's going to be, but Bench seems like he could easily flirt with a 25 homer, possibly a 30 homer pace right off the bat as a big leaguer. Also, it's a benefit to him, his swing decisions were quite good. He had a high contact rate, a good in-zone contact rate, an average chase rate, a low whiff rate. We have good swing decisions, we have good bat to ball, we have good power. Just a lot of good things from Bench as a baseball player. Also, some good deeper stat pulls here. He had a 93.3 mile per hour exit velocity on fly balls and line drives at Double A, where 88 miles per hour is the average, with again that same below average whiff rate and above average chase rate. That's courtesy of Lance Brosdowski on his Substack. That right there, the 93 mile per hour average exit velocity of fly balls and line drives, that's same as Kyle Tucker in the majors. Tucker's weirdly a decent comp for Bench, with a nice flat left-handed swing, good swing decisions, and good power, not great power, with a really good hit tool. I don't know if I'm too crazy for saying that, but I'm going to put it out there. The big concern with Bench coming out of the draft was the fact that he wasn't really good at either lifting or pulling the ball. It was a lot of opposite field shots in college, but he's doing both of those things at a much better rate now, both hitting the ball in the air and hitting it to the pull side. A really big deal for young players coming to the majors and trying to convert raw power into game power. Also, Bench was a two-way player. He was a closer and he was a corner outfielder. But the Mets have tried to shoehorn him into being a center fielder since being drafted, and he's made really good strides there as well. A lot of big prospect analysts, including the guys at Baseball Prospectus, think he can be a plus defensive center fielder after only playing that position for a year. It's just amazing that since dropping pitching, how much better Bench has gotten, basically all facets of his game in a very short period of time. And the most important thing, for the purpose of this video and fantasy baseball, is that Carson Bench has a clear runway to possibly earning the Mets' full-time left field job out of spring training. They've done a lot of big overhaul to their roster this offseason, and they just don't have a left fielder on it right now. And David Stearns has said explicitly that he wants to keep the door open for Bench, again, explicitly, to possibly earn that job, if not right out of camp, soon thereafter.
We've been consistent throughout the offseason that Carson's going to come to camp with a chance to make our team. That remains the same. He's played a lot of right field during his time in the minor leagues. We're confident with him out there.
All the writing is on the wall here for Carson Bench to be a full-time player in a really, really, really good Mets lineup, basically by the middle of April. And if he does, he's going to be a smash. He probably won't play against lefties, so you're going to deal with a platoon risk, but there's everything you'd want from a baseball player. Next up, we have J.J. Weatherholt, shortstop in the Cardinals organization. This guy's the definition of a ball player. He was the number 7 pick out of West Virginia into the 2024 draft, and he's just straight up mashed since then. He played at low A for a month after being drafted, had 800 OPS with more walks and strikeouts. Then he went straight to Double A at the beginning of last season, and had 7 homers, 14 stolen bases, again, more walks and strikeouts, and a 300, 425, 466 triple slash. Then he went to Triple A to end the season, had 10 home runs, 9 stolen bases, and a 314, 416, 562 triple slash. This is a guy that, by all accounts and purposes, is Major League Baseball ready. He was Major League Baseball ready basically by last summer. The Cardinals were not incentivized to call him up because they were not really good and didn't want to start his service clock. Also, he was kind of just blocked at the positions that he plays most. He's a shortstop by trade, but he's probably not good enough defensively to displace Mason Wynn there. And then otherwise, he's been playing a lot more second and third base as he's gone through the upper minors. But last year, that was Brendan Donovan, Nolan Arenado manning those positions for St. Louis. Those guys are both gone. Both have been traded. So there's a really good chance we see J.J. Weatherholt as soon as opening day, either second base or third base. Kind of have to watch spring training to see which position he winds up at. But one knock I have about Weatherholt, I do want to call his power ceiling potential kind of into question right now. We have all of his AAA batted ball data. It was only 47 games. Not a huge sample, not a small sample either. But with that, he had just a 107.6 max exit velocity. That's in the same range as guys like Chandler Simpson, Luis Arias, TJ Friedel. Not exactly big-time power hitters. It's hard to really see like a 25-homer future for Weatherholt. In fact, only 34 major leaguers last season who had at least 100 balls put in play had a lower max exit velocity than that 107.6 that Weatherholt had in his 47 games at AAA last year. On top of that, he has a very low rate of pulling his fly balls in the air. He's much more of a spray hitter. He's a great oppo hitter. He plays the gaps well. He's going to hit tons of doubles. He's also very patient. I'm worried that Weatherholt might be too patient for Major League pitching, especially if they don't fear the damage that he can create. He just didn't swing much in the zone, and that's something that could be really successful even in the upper minors because pitchers just don't have as good a command. You're not as afraid of their velocity, and they're not as consistent with their breaking balls. You can kind of just sit back, wait, get your pitch, identify it, and bam, go at it. He also doesn't swing and miss very much. He doesn't chase that much. But again, I think a lot of his really good approach and discipline in the minors was derived from being very, very patient. That might not come with him to the major leagues. If pitchers fill the zone up against him because they're not afraid he can, again, put the ball over the fence, he might have to make some decisions earlier in the count than he's used to. There could be an adjustment period there. He will wind up being a really, really good baseball player, especially because wherever he plays on the infield, he's going to be plus on defense. Again, I think eventually that patience will come with him. He'll run high on base percentages. The good hit tool will also help him run high averages. But we're probably looking at like a 15 homer ceiling in the near future. Truthfully, this is kind of like an enhanced version of Brendan Donovan, who the Cardinals just traded to give runway for Weatherholt to get a job. But again, sure, a 15-15 guy with a high average, that's awesome. Next up, we have another prospect I'm really, really excited about is Kevin McGonigal, shortstop, maybe second baseman, the Tigers organization. McGonigal was the 37th overall pick in the 2023 draft out of a suburban Philly high school, and he was already in high A at 19 years old in 2024. He's a bit of an unassuming guy. He's not that big. He's not that strong. He's not going to be the best athlete on the field. But whew, damn, is this guy a ball player. The power's growing, but we're definitely looking a bit more like a high average guy with great plate discipline. And last season is when he really, really took off and kind of got himself to the spot where he's basically the consensus number 2 prospect in the league right now. In 36 games at high A to start last season, he had 370, 460, 650 triple slash line, an 1100 OPS as a 20-year-old in high A. That's outrageously good. Then he got called up to double A and did not miss a beat, where he had a 900 OPS and 12 home runs in 46 games. This was the first time, very important for McGonigal, that home run power started to show up because, again, he was a little bit more of a gap-to-gap all-fields hitter, not the biggest guy, but just amazing barrel control, and something clicked here where he started pulling his fly balls and just crushing it. He also had an ankle injury to start last season, so it took him a while to get going, but again, once you saw this hot streak at double A, it really clicked in. The plate discipline's really good too. He had more walks and strikeouts at that level. And again, just his barrel control. He can hit anything, anywhere. It's amazing to watch what this guy can do in the box, how he just controls the bat through the zone. Also, very important for a guy like McGonigal, where the home run power has been a bit called into question. He has 112 mile an hour max exit velocity, which is no joke, and apparently, allegedly, had a 118 mile per hour foul ball this past October in the Arizona Fall League. If I had to offer a slight concern for something like McGonigal's MVP ceiling future, it's that he only had a 71.1 mile per hour average bat speed that was tracked in the AFL last year. We had StatCast data over there. Over 90 plate appearances, a decent sample to get you bat speed. The MLB comps for guys in that range are some studs like Rafael Devers and Zach Neto, but also some soft hitters like Tyler Freeman and JP Crawford. It's more just average bat speed, but still, entering his age 21 season right now, the guy's on an elite trajectory. I don't know if his long-term defensive home is a shortstop. It's probably more likely to be second base, but if he's able to force his way onto the Tigers this year, it will be at shortstop because that's the big hole right now on their major league roster. And that's kind of why he's below the few guys above him. Like, I think McGonigal's future as a big leaguer or potential production this year, I think he's just better than Carson Bench or JJ Weatherholt, but I just don't know if he's going to get the same playing time as those guys will get early on. Next up, we have Robbie Snelling, a pitcher in the Marlins organization. First pitcher on the board, and that's because usually rookie pitchers are a little bit less certain than rookie bats and how well they're going to produce, but Snelling looks like he could have a rotation spot early, and I really love what this guy has. He came to Miami from San Diego in that Tanner Scott, Brian Hoeing trade from a few trade deadlines ago, and that was after being the number 39 overall pick in the 2022 draft. Funny enough, coming to that draft, he was actually being recruited by LSU as a 4-star linebacker, so you can just see the physicality of this guy like Snelling, and he had a great first year as a pro, with a 1.82 ERA and 20% strikeout minus walk rate in 100 innings split between low A, high A, and double A. Really good, looked like he was on some kind of a star ace trajectory, but then really struggled in 2024 before being traded. His ERA was over 6, his walks were up, his strikeouts were down, And a lot of that was tied to the fact that he had pretty inconsistent velocity going from that first year to his second. He came into the Padres organization with reports that he was touching 97 as a big lefty, which is like, bam, wow, ace potential. But realistically, in games, he sat more between 92 and 94 miles an hour. A good word of caution when you hear things about what a pitcher is touching rather than where they're sitting. Then 2024, when he struggled, his velo lagged back closer to 90 miles per hour. Very dangerous spot for any pitcher to be. But he really found a new groove in 2025 in his first year in the Marlins organization. His fastball was up to 94, 96 mile an hour, which is plus velocity for a lefty, with a better shape on it, higher induced vertical break going to the top of the zone. For my pitching nerds out there, it was 17 inches of induced vertical break from a 5.8 foot release height. So again, we're getting good shape on that fastball. Also, his curveball, his out pitch, has lots of horizontal action on it, plus drop, 12 mile an hour velocity difference between that fastball and the curveball. So and 2 feet of vertical separation is really nice to see. And his changeup is passable, which is very important for a left-handed pitcher. You have to get right-handed batters out. Changeup has always been a great weapon for lefties to get out righties, and always will be. I want to quickly screen share with you guys just some of his pitch specs, and then quickly some left-right splits on these certain pitches. So again, we're seeing a fastball sits around 95, which is plus for a lefty. We're seeing a good shape on that to 17 inches, 5 EB, like I told you before. We're seeing that really none of these pitches, besides the slider, got hit hard in any way, shape, or form at AAA last year. We're seeing high whiff rates on all of them, especially that almost 37% whiff rate on this fastball in AAA is super elite. And split this out for righties and lefties. These are the righties right here. So you're seeing, again, mostly a fastball, curveball repertoire here with that changeup getting better, mixing in. That 35% whiff rate on that changeup is really nice for him in AAA. And then just seeing how he handles the lefties right here, just fastballs and curveballs. We'll see what happens with the slider development. Don't know what's going on with there yet. It's a tight slider, barely any glove side movement on it. Tiny bit of drop there, but again, these lefties are just completely powerless against the fastball and the curveball. Let's see if he even needs another weapon against those guys, even when he gets to the majors. And you guys see the stats above. He decimated AAA hitters last year. And just to show you guys his prospects of on page, it's just elite. He didn't really do anything wrong. There were no holes, no weaknesses in his game. He forced whiffs. He didn't allow any hard hit balls, lots of strikeouts, not many walks. He forced bad decisions from hitters, and then when they decided to swing at pitches in the zone, he was able to miss bats there. It's just a really, really good profile from an upper minors pitcher. To me, Snelling is probably one of the most underrated pitching prospects in the game. I know a lot of people out there are questioning how much velocity he can hold, but it seems like he kind of turned over a new leaf last year, found some new physicality. If he sits at 95, he's one of my favorite pitching prospects in the whole league. And it looks like he has the ability to enter this Marlins rotation relatively early in the season after they traded Ryan Weathers and Edward Cabrera. And with some injury concerns from guys like Max Myers and Braxton Garrett at the back of their rotation, Snelling could be up in May, and he could dominate once he gets there. Next up, we have Aiden Miller, shortstop prospect in the Phillies organization. And with the aggressiveness the Phillies showed in trying to get Bo Bichette this offseason, then losing him to the Mets, it makes me think that they're really ready to give someone besides Alec Boehm or Bryson Stott 600 plate appearances this season. I think that guy could be Miller. He was a number 27 pick out of high school in 2023 draft. He's moved very quickly through their system since then. He got a cup of coffee in low A after being drafted in 23, and then in 2024, he had over an 800 OPS split between low A and high A. But he really didn't have that much raw power. That was a lot of speed-inducing doubles. He couldn't really convert again that raw power to game power. Wasn't getting the ball over the fence ever. He took a nice step forward in 2025, though, and basically a full season at Double A, where he had the same 810 OPS, but at a harder level, a year older, at a harder level, was still only 21 years old, so about 2 years younger than the average age at Double A. But smacked 13 homers, which is a big improvement, had a 380 on-base percentage, which is great. Got there with a very high walk rate and extreme patience, kind of like I mentioned with Weatherholt before. Some of these advanced hitters in the minor leagues can kind of just sit back and wait. You know you're getting a mistake. You know you can't really get beat in the zone, so you could just chill on it. Sometimes that concerns me as these guys move to the major leagues. We'll get to that in a second. Something else great about Miller's game, which is great for fantasy baseball, he stole 52 bags in the minors last year. It came on 66 tries, but this guy's a speed demon, and he's ready to run in the moment's notice. He also got called up for a cup of coffee at AAA at the end of the year, and in that week of ball, he attempted 8 stolen bases and was successful 7 times. So the guy's not afraid to run, even when it gets a little tougher for him. Well, he hasn't had a lot of power production yet in the minor leagues. All the scouts say the bat speed is plus, so I have to go with them and just believe that this will be a 20 to 25 homer bat when he does get to the majors. The realization that game power might just come with age, and again, I'm excited for him to open this year at AAA, so we'll be able to get batted ball data on him. At that point, it'll be much easier to triangulate how much power he's going to have right away. But if and when he comes up this season, I'm assuming he will, again, because how badly the Phillies want to displace one of their infielders, I'm assuming he plays at something like a 15 homer, 30 stolen base pace, which again, very valuable. There's also a lot of reports he can probably handle major league level velocity. Good stat from MLB.com's David Adler that Miller had a 357 batting average and 714 slugging percentage in the minors last year. against pitches at least 95 miles per hour. And another one here from Aaron Layton, that Miller's zone contact rate was over 90% against fastballs that were at least 94 miles per hour. And at the same time, also from Aaron, he had a chase rate of roughly 17% against non-fastballs, which is definitely a little bit catalyzed by his uber patience, but we still like to see it. At worst, we're going to have a patient hitter who's going to pop out a few home runs and steal tons of bases, while being a good defensive shortstop, so in the major leagues, probably good at third, no, probably good at second. Wherever the Phillies want to put him, and it seems like it's most likely going to be third. It seems like everybody there is done with Alec Bohm. Miller could get that spot, and if so, he may never give the job back. A few more prospects left. Next up, we have Gage Jump, starting pitcher in the Athletics organization. Stuff-wise, this is probably one of my favorite prospects in the whole minor leagues. In terms of who we saw break out last year, Jump was maybe the biggest riser, especially the biggest riser among pitchers. I guess him and Snelling, honestly. He's also taken much more of a wacky route to being a top prospect. He tore his UCL in his freshman year at UCLA, got Tommy John surgery, missed his whole sophomore season, then transferred to LSU for his junior year, had a very nice season there, wound up being the number 73 overall pick in the 2024 draft by the Athletics for a nice, cool $2 million signing bonus. That slot money, $2 million, it lines up much more like someone who's a fringy first-round pick, something like between the 35th and the 45th picks in the draft. So, even though Jump was drafted 73, the league viewed his talent level as being something commensurate of, again, a fringe first or second round pick. Last year was his first time pitching in the minor leagues, and he was absolutely filthy. He only pitched 6 games at high A and was so good they had to move him up right away. He had 37% strikeout rate and a 4% walk rate, which is, all right, get to double A, you're too good to be here. And he did not miss a beat when he went up to double A. Those are the stats I have listed up here above for him. More walks and less strikeouts than high A, of course, but it's a tougher level. It makes a lot of sense. And just being that dominant double A last year makes his major league debut kind of likely this season. Everything with Jump is about his fastballs. It's one of the most electric in all of the minor leagues. Mid-90s from the left side with plus vertical action will dominate hitters high in the zone. And he has 2 good breaking balls to play off it. Not many videos of these pitches, not much data on them either because we haven't seen him pitch a AAA yet. But it's a 2-plane curveball that sits around 80 miles per hour. He can place it anywhere. Scouts are in agreement that that's his best secondary pitch. And then he has a sweepy slider that's much better against left-handed batters, of course. It's also shown to be inconsistent at times. Again, the curveball is the one he relies on a lot, which is nice. That'll be more platoon neutral, be better against righties and lefties, where that sweeper will be much better against lefties than righties. We also really want to see some changeup development from him as a left-handed pitcher if he wants to get righties out at the big league level consistently. The A's have a huge need in their rotation. It's not very good, and the guys at the top who are decent are very injury-prone. If they're serious about trying to compete for a wildcard spot this year, and they have the young nucleus, the core in their lineup to do so, Jump should be on this team sooner rather than later. And if he opens the season crushing in AAA, I think he will be. Next up, kind of a prospect, not really. I want to talk about him though. Munetaka Murakami, going to play first base on the White Sox. Again, not really a prospect. He's been a professional hitter in the MPB in Japan for like 6 years now, but he hasn't played against Major League pitching yet, so I think it was a perfect video to shout him out. There's also a lot of fun discourse around him, so I really have a lot of good information. The big thing about Murakami is that his game has some huge strengths and some really glaring weaknesses, and we just don't know which of those sides are going to win out in the majors. In terms of the strengths, the raw power is wicked, unbelievable. In 2022, when he was just 22 years old, he won the Triple Crown in the MPB with 56 home runs. Also in the MPB, he has 116.5 mile-an-hour max exit velocity. That would be near the top of all Major League players. And he had a 115 mile-per-hour home run in the last World Baseball Classic off of Major League pitcher Merrill Kelly. So again, the guy can hit the ball really, really hard. He also had a max bat speed of 85.7 miles per hour in Japan last year, which hints at us he's going to have plus bat speed when he gets to the Major Leagues. Power's real. With the power being real, he has a nice history of an advantageous batted ball distribution. He's really good at hitting the ball in the air, and he's really good at pulling those fly balls. Big check mark to, again, convert the raw power to game power. And also, not many are talking about this, but I think his swing decisions have the chance to be elite. Last year in the MPB, he had a 74% zone swinging rate and a 25% chase rate. Right there, that's him identifying the pitches to swing at in the zone and avoiding the ones outside of it. That's amazing. Based purely on those decisions, he would be up there with some guys who make the best swing decisions in all of the majors. I made this table right here to show you Murakami compared to Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, and Dansby Swanson. 3 guys known for making very good swing decisions. But there's a 4th very important column of this table all the way to the right that you guys are seeing, in-zone contact rate, and Murakami's is so low, it's kind of hilarious. And this could be the one thing that stops him from being productive at the major league level, at least right away. That 73.4% zone contact rate would have been the 5th lowest among all qualified major league players since 2023. It's crazy bad. This is like Jose Siri, Joey Gallo type of in-zone contact. And this was against much worse pitching in Japan than he will ever face in the major leagues. You're going to be facing less velocity, less quality breaking balls. Just to give a note right here about the velocity differences in the MPB versus the major leagues, there were only 24 instances of a pitcher in the MPB with an average fastball, a 4-seamer, 2-seamer, or a cutter of at least 95 miles per hour last season, with a minimum of 100 pitches thrown, according to the Yahoo Cosmopolitan's MLB Advanced Database. The average fastball velocity in Major League Baseball last year was 94.3 miles per hour, and there were 365 instances of a pitcher having a fastball that averaged at least 95 miles per hour who threw at least 100 fastballs. So again, the top of what you see velocity-wise in Japan is the average of what you see velocity-wise in the major leagues. It's not even a comparison. I do wonder how Murakami may have hit against that high velocity stuff in Japan last year. We'll really never know. A lot of projection systems love Murakami, though. If you look at ATC, the Bat X, Steamer on Fangraphs, they all kind of think he's going to be about a 30 homer bat who's going to be about 10 to 15% better than league average with a high walk rate. I could kind of see some of that happening. I think I like Murakami a bit more than the consensus right now. He might be a great source of cheap power. He also might just flame out and not be able to make anywhere near consistent enough contact to get to that, but it's going to be fun to watch regardless. All right, now to get the last two guys on this list, you kind of have to squint a little bit to find those with an actual good ceiling that can come up early enough in the season to be relevant for something like this, and then also have the tools to actually make a big impact. But the first guy, who I do hope he comes up early, Travis Bazzana, second base prospect in the Guardians organization. Number 1 overall pick 2 years ago in the draft that's already produced Nick Kurtz, Trey Savage, Chase Burns, Jack Caglione as major leaguers, and some guys I've mentioned above, Connor Griffin, Carson Bench, JJ Weatherholt, and Gage Jump as legit prospects. So maybe Cleveland taking Bazzana number 1 overall wasn't exactly the right pick, but his first full pro season last year was really hurt by 2 separate oblique injuries. Like he had one on the left side, one on the right side. And you really hate seeing those kind of soft core issues for a hitter this young. But he still looked really solid with an 800 OPS and 380 on base percentage split between AA and AAA. And he has all the tools to be a legit hitter. Like his senior year at Oregon State, it was disgustingly good. Insane barrel control, unbelievable sense of the zone, uber patient. But I think his uber patience can pay off because the sense of the zone is just that much better than most other guys. We're still waiting to see if the hit tool can be something he can definitely rely upon. But again, the patience, the barrel control, I think he's probably like a 20 homer bat with a 340 on base percentage. I don't know how aggressive the Guardians are going to be with him. They should be aggressive. On opening day, he could be like the second or third best hitter in their lineup, truthfully. Looking at the fact that he had a really good barrel rate at AAA and exit velocities that were good, not elite, but still really good, you just feel like this is a dude who could straight up hit. Like, get to the major leagues, instantly productive, no doubt. Then last on the list, Emmanuel Rodriguez, center field prospect in the Twins organization. He will get his shot when there's the inevitable Brian Buxton injury and Emmanuel could just play center field. But the Twins kind of have a lot of holes on their roster that are not center field right now. So chance he just doesn't get a shot this year. It's also a very funky profile. It could excel. It also could not work out at all. It's crazy patience. I've talked about guys above who are patient. Rodriguez just does not swing. He will not swing the bat. He doesn't swing if it's in the zone. He doesn't swing if it's out of the zone. He just sits there and waits. Waits for you to make a mistake. Waits to see the one pitch that he can jump on. With that, though, he jumps on a lot. He's got really good raw power. He also can't lift the ball. It's a lot of weird things, that some really good, some really bad, that all happening at the same time for Rodriguez in his last few years as a minor leaguer. One of the most polarizing prospects in the whole league. He's been running these 20% walk rates, though, and 30% strikeout rates all through the minor leagues. That will not happen in the majors. He will get challenged in the zone. It will be up to him to see how much more aggressive he can and want to be to still play his game, because he has one of the lowest zone swing rates for all minor league hitters going back years and years and years right now. Also, still some of the best raw power. Like the prospects of on page, it's bizarre, but like maybe it works. I don't like it, but maybe it works. I really have no idea what happens when he comes up, but like if he's a 20-20 guy with a low average and a high on base percentage, I wouldn't be close to surprised. Also, now I just want to run through a few honorable mentions. I don't really think many of these guys will get called up this year or have a huge impact, but if they do, I want to mention them. Huge miss by me. I totally forgot to mention Andrew Painter, starting pitcher on the Phillies. He was one of the top, if not the top, starting pitching prospect in the league a few years ago, knocking on the door of the big leagues at 20 years old. Then he tore his UCL, got Tommy John surgery, missed the entire 2023 and 2024 seasons, came back last year, still as just a 22-year-old in AAA, threw 120 innings, which is great. ERA was over 5, which was bad. I'm kind of treating him going into this year like we treated Shane Baz heading into last season. I know the talent's amazing. I know the stuff's amazing. I'm kind of throwing last year out, and I really, really, really like Andrew Painter this year. Sorry to you guys, I forgot to mention, give him a whole section. First up, a pair of starting pitchers in the Mariners, Cade Anderson, Ryan Sloan. Anderson's a lefty that was drafted last year. He's going to go to the Mariners School of Velocity Development, and when he does, he already has everything else, but it might be too quick for him. Ryan Sloan, drafted 2 years ago, got to high A last year, big-time strike thrower. Mariners with not so good starting pitching depth. I could see them giving Sloan a shot. Also in the Mariners system, Colt Emerson. It's just crazy high potential. He could force his way onto this roster at either shortstop or third, but he's only played 40 games in the upper minors, so it still might be too soon. Next, Thomas White and Joe Mack from the Marlins. White probably has more potential than Snelling, just a crisper repertoire. but he's still a step behind him developmentally. And Joe Mack is a very good defensive catcher. He probably is a much better. He's definitely a much better defensive catcher than Augustin Ramirez, but hit tool concerns with good power. I just don't know how productive he is as a rookie. Then we have Walker Jenkins, another outfielder in the Twins organization. He's a corner outfielder. He was a high draft pick a few years ago. He's gotten to the top 5 of prospect list. Ripped the cover off the ball last year as a 20-year-old in Double-A. Got to Triple-A as a 20-year-old. Again, probably still a year away, but want to mention just in case. And then Justin Crawford will break camp with the Phillies as their center fielder. He is like a deep league guy. He's going to steal lots of bags, but I just don't know how well he's going to hit. And also want to mention Max Clark from the Tigers, center fielder, definitely the best center fielder in their organization. The way they might be going for it extra hard this year, I can see them giving Clark a shot. But thank you guys so much. Top 10 prospects I think that will debut this year. Remember, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. A lot more consistent, probably more fantasy baseball content coming soon. We'll always keep mixing the fantasy and the regular baseball here. Thank you guys all so much. I'll see you next time.